Hello, this is Deb, otherwise known as Motorcycle Mommom. I just got back from Ocean City, Maryland for OC Bike Fest and DelMarVa Bike Week. It was without a doubt the best weather ever down there. Well, at least since 2010 when I first went for Bike Week. Might have been better weather before that, but this is the best year that I remember anyway. So in this particular ride, Ed and I met up with some friends and their friends for a ride to Assateague Island National Seashore Park in Berlin, Maryland. And I've been there multiple times before, but this is the first time that I went on the motorcycle. So basically we took our steel horses to see some wild horses. So first, if you're going to visit Assateague, I would highly recommend that you check out the National Parks website. There's a lot of information regarding what's at and available at the park. There is a beach, there's restrooms, camping, and much, much more. And of course, wild horses. Also, another side note, it is $20 for motorcycles to get in. And when you pay the $20, that's good for 7 days worth of entry. Of course, we were there for probably an hour, so I don't know if that was a good return on investment, but we enjoyed it, so I'm going to say that it was. If you're listening to this and you are a veteran or active military, you do get into national parks free. You have to fill out something, do something. I know my son did that last year or so when we were in Williamsburg, and Ed completed it this time when we were going into Assateague. So just keep that in mind if you are military. Ask about that. Make sure you mention it when you are there so that you can get the card and you don't have to pay the entry fee. And that works for, I think, all national parks too. So again, check out the website. Don't trust me on that. Do your own research. Just sharing what I think I know. Anyway, as you see in the video, I'm going to get back on track and not scroll too much on this one. But as you see in the video, we did stop at the visitor center. Unfortunately, we missed it being open by just a couple of minutes, but it was still awesome. And I've been in there before, but there were people that we were with that had never been in there. So it would have been nice, but we were still able to walk around. There's a nice map kind of the area showing Assateague and Chincoteague and all of that that's out front that you can still see even when it's closed. And you can go out a little walkway and have a beautiful view, take pictures and video. So we were able to do all of that. There was lots of other people there. So we were obviously not alone in enjoying the beauty that is just Assateague and that area. So here's a little bit of background about Assateague Island and Chincoteague Island, and this is coming right off the National Parks website, so you go out there, read that for yourself, but I'll kind of paraphrase where I can. But Assateague's wild horses are well known, of course, even to many people that have never heard of the island. The wild horses on Assateague are actually feral animals, meaning that they are descendants of domestic animals that have reverted back to a wild state. So these are horses that are tough enough to survive the scorching heat that is the beach, abundant mosquitoes, stormy weather, not good food quality like food sources because it is kind of a remote windswept barrier island. And they have formed this unique wild horse society. So they ask us that we enjoy the beauty from a distance. And, you know, unfortunately, the signs for how far away to stay from it are further up the road from when we had our initial encounter with one of the horses, and I don't know really how we could have done a whole lot better, but looking at the video, I'm like, ooh, I should have went out in the other lane. And I remember looking and realizing, okay, I do have space. There wasn't any immediate oncoming traffic at that moment that I knew that if I had to dart away that I could, but I figured as long as I went by slowly and then the horse kept coming into the lane. So it was kind of a split-second decision of what's my safest way to do this. And obviously I was fine, horse was fine, all was well. But when I look back at the video, I kind of go, ooh. So lesson learned there. And when you get further into the island, you will see signs that tell you to keep 40 feet away. Well, there was not 40 feet anywhere there to have kept away really from the timing that we had. But anyway, again, all was well. So anyway, back to enjoying the beauty from a distance. And that can help to make sure that these extraordinary wild horses continue to thrive on Assateague Island. And you can also tell from the video that they are very comfortable with cars and people. I mean, it is a commonplace thing. There is a lot of tourism in that area. So how did these horses get there? Like, did they just decide, you know, walk across a bridge, swim? What did they do? But local folklore will describe the Assateague horses as survivors of a shipwreck off of the Virginia coast. So it is a dramatic tale of struggle and survival, and that's a very popular one, but there's no records to confirm it. So they think that the most plausible explanation is that they are descendants of horses that were brought out to the barrier islands like Assateague, say in the late 17th century by mainland owners to avoid fencing laws and taxation of livestock. So you have this island that is an island, right? It's safe. They're not coming off of there easily. So I guess that was one of the other theories and the more likely of theories of how the horses got there. Now the horses that are on the islands, they are split into two main herds, one on the Virginia side and one on the Maryland side of Assateague. And they're separated by a fence at the Virginia-Maryland state line. The herds are divided themselves into bands of 2 to 12 animals, and each band occupies a home range. So the National Park Services manages the Maryland herd, and the Chincoteague Volunteer Fire Company owns and manages the Virginia herd. And it is allowed to graze on the Chincoteague National Wildlife Refuge because there's a special use permit that was issued by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. So it does restrict the herd on the Virginia side there to approximately 150 adult animals in order to protect the other natural resources. And that's why the Virginia herd is often referred to as the Chincoteague ponies. So again, in the beginning, I mentioned that a lot of people had already heard of this. Even if they haven't been there, they've heard of the horses. There is a book by Marguerite Henry named Misty of Chincoteague. And I can remember as a kid reading this book. I can't tell you a whole lot about it because of my memory, but I do remember reading the book. But it is a story that takes place during the traditional Chincoteague festival called pony penning. And it's the last Wednesday of July, and the Virginia herd horses are rounded up, and they have them swim across from Assateague over to Chincoteague Island, and then the young foals are auctioned off the next day. And the proceeds from that sale go to the Chincoteague Volunteer Fire Department. So that is how that part comes about. So as you see, we did have the pleasure, and I did kind of already talk to it, have the pleasure of seeing a few wild horses. And we got to enjoy an absolutely gorgeous late summer / early fall afternoon in, beautiful Assateague Island National Seashore Park on the Maryland side. I'm really glad that we decided to do the ride. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing, but well worth it. Sometimes they are the absolute best, as I'm sure hopefully some of you will agree to. So in the comments, let me know if you've ever been out to Assateague, if you were lucky enough to see wild horses. I have every time I've been there, but I understand from some other folks that that's not always the case, that you could be there and not see any during your visit. But again, I've always been lucky, and I have, and actually usually seen more than what we saw this time, but it was still really cool. And again, beautiful day, just really glad we did the ride. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please hit the like button. It's really important. Also, if you are not already, please do subscribe to the channel. Again, really important for the growth of the channel to have those subscribers. Doesn't cost you anything at all. Just hit that subscribe button, please. And thank you. And until next time, keep life shiny side up. Take care.